Hey y'all, welcome back to Homestead, guys. Today I'm going to start it all. We are going to start our herb series. So as you all know, some of you don't, we've got a lot of new people here. We are affiliates with Mountain Rose Herb Company. I wanted to grow herbs this year and I found this website, Mountain Rose Herb Company, and they were great. They wanted to know if we wanted to be an affiliate. We said yes. And if you are thinking about buying herbs, that is probably the best, bar none, website you can find to go buy herbs from. Anything from home usage to whatever. So if you would like to use our link, I highly recommend the company. It's in the description of our video, okay? That will help us as well, our homestead. So let me tell you about something that you can buy or you can find natural. This is spring, everything's blooming. It's a beautiful time of the year. What you will find in your yard are violets. These right here are light violets, and I have a deep purple one. The light ones are called Confederate violets. I just looked that up. Get you a plant identification app. You really need this if you're getting into herbs and plants and things like that, okay? So I learned that the light colored one is a Confederate violet. That's the name. And then the purple, I don't know. I just know that it's a violet or viola, okay? You'll hear it called both. So let me tell you how we're going to use this. What I did was I picked these outside, and I picked probably a quarter of a cardboard cracker box full. Just a little snack box, like a wheat thin box behind me. And what I did was I washed them off gently up under running water, cool running water, just to get any dirt and debris off. And then I brought them inside. Now, if you are getting into herbs, you need to know what's edible and what's not edible. I'm not going to fool with anything that's not edible. That's the whole point. You also need a dehydrator. A dehydrator will come in very handy, especially with fine herbs. But for the violets, what I did after I washed them is I put them on an old baking tray. So these have sat for 1 week right there, and they're dry as they can be. They've been at room temp, sitting on my canned goods. Okay, there's one that hasn't dried. But otherwise, that's how you can dry violets. They're so fine that they'll go through the mesh in the dehydrator. So you also need something like silicone mats to go in your dehydrator. Now, I could have put these in the dehydrator and they would have been dry within hours. But I don't have that right now. That's in the works. So I just let them air dry. This is what I do with my rose petals. So why on earth would anybody want violets? Well, let me tell you, it's an old tradition to press these between book pages. That's just, it's sweet, it's sentimental, like pressing a rose or a daffodil. You see these all the time in old books, especially from family members. They'll have those as keepsakes or to bookmark a special page. It's just something old-timey, homesteady, old-fashioned, and vintage. What can you use violets for around the home? So what I'm doing with all these herbs, as I told you, I did a video on books you need. This is one of the books right here, the Modern Herbal Dispensary. This right here I would recommend. And also this one, the Encyclopedia of Herbal Medicine. So both of those I got off Amazon, and today I'll just turn to violet just to talk about it with you guys. I'm not giving you any medical advice whatsoever. You know, to see a doctor, you know, do nothing without checking with your physician. You know all this, okay? I'm not giving any advice, but I'm telling you what it's been used for from what I'm reading in the materials, okay? I'm just letting you know some history on it. So violet, according to this book, the Modern Herbal Dispensary, has been a remedy in the past for cooling heat and relieving congestion. It's a huge lymphatic affectant, okay? So it's been used for that in history, in times past. And this also gives you like warnings. It says energetics, properties, and sources. You can buy violets from Mountain Rose Herb Company and also Stony Mountain Botanicals. I've never heard of that one. It even gives you a dosage form. Now, this says you can do an infusion or a tincture. Tincture can be fresh, so like this right here. A tincture, guys, is where you put alcohol over the plant. That, or you could do a glycerin tincture. You need a very high-proof alcohol. This recommends 95%. You could use dried leaf like this. It gives you different ratios, and it tells you what they recommend for usage, okay? I'm not doing any of that. What I'm going to do with the violets is I am going to make a tea. You need a tea ball, a tea infuser, and if you want to have violet tea, you could have that. I bake cakes all the time. You could have dried violets on a cake. You could have fresh violets on a cake. They're edible, okay? Now, all I'm using is the leaves. You can use, from what I understand, the stem and the root. Most of the time with these herbs, everything it says, like, it can affect the lymphatic system, or it's been studied to do that. If it gets to the root of the plant, it's usually more intensified, the effects. I don't mess with the root of anything, just the flowers. So that's what this book says about violets. And then also in this one right here, the encyclopedia, it says that it's a creeping perennial. Guys, everybody's got these in their yards. I've got them in my raised beds right now. Flowers, leaves, and root can be used. You need something to tell you what's edible, okay, and what's not. It gives you the history and folklore of it. History of medicinal actions and uses. It has been used as an infusion or syrup for treating coughs, chest colds, and catarrh. And then it talks about British herbalism and what it's been used for, and people experimenting with different cancer treatments and all that. So this is all herbalism and experimental, guys. Again, I'm not giving you any advice. You go see your doctor. I am just going to make tea. But it's interesting to know that all the history and what it's been used for, and to learn about this stuff that's natural, that was put here for a purpose, okay? So if, just say I'm down and out and congested and all, I may make some violet tea, okay? And now, I'm not going to go by the dosage specifically. I'm just going to put a few little leaves down in here and make some tea over it. That's it. I'm going to store these in a mason jar with a ring and a lid, sealed, airtight. Now, this right here, if you can, I can, pressure can, water bath, save the lids. You can reuse those for this type of thing, okay, something dehydrated. Now, I don't foresee with this little amount needing it like pressure vacuum sealed, because I'm going to go through it quickly. But you can get a pump to seal the mason jar. That way it will be for real airtight, okay? So you could do that. But that's it, guys. Just you go out in your yard and pick it. Now, let me tell you, there they are. That's violets. And they're beautiful, y'all. There's nothing more dainty and beautiful. So if you want it just for ornamental, or if you want it for the research, whatever, okay? Now, this time of year, you need to be looking for violets. You need to be looking for clover blossoms. You need to be looking for rose petals. Those three things, okay? And dandelions as well. A lot of people will eat this stuff, or they will do certain things with it. We're going to show you along the way what we're going to do as well. Now, this year, I did buy some Johnny Jump Up violas. They are yellow and purple. I have not planted those yet. These are just wild violets. People actually will make jam out of this, or jelly, or syrup, and they'll can it. I just don't have that much to do, and I'm wanting the tea. If I want a cup of tea when I'm feeling like I might need this, then there you go, okay? So this is part of a homestead, guys, and that's why I'm so encouraging about this year, because it's all about sustainability and doing things yourself and doing things without having to depend on something else, if just whatever the reason, okay? So anyways, that's violets. That's our little video on violets today, and I'm getting ready to go out and pick some more, because you can see I've probably got maybe half a cup. That's a good bit, and you can air dry it. Be looking for dehydrators. I've got a Presto dehydrator. Look for those. Go on and get the silicone mats that fit it when you buy it. Okay, you need that if you are getting into drying herbs. A lot of herbs can be dried by paper sacks, just hanging them up or whatever. You can do that. You can do it like this, air dry. You can make your own dehydrator outside and let it sun dry. This is just what I'm using, okay? So that's our first little video on herbs. I hope y'all will follow along on our journey. We'll see you guys next time on Harmon Homestead.